This is Park the Bus with Stephen Caldwell, Kevin Kilbane and Luke Wileman. So this week we get to come to Graham Leggett's twice to discuss footballing matters from around the world, and it doesn't get much bigger than MLS Cup. We've already had the mock draw for the World Cup, which is going to be Friday. So if anyone hasn't seen that yet or listened to it, that was an entertaining
for us
podcast.
I'm not too sure.
Exhausting.
I'm not too sure it comes across as a good podcast. That's the way that I would probably.
You're
describe
worried about that one, Kev?
No, I'm not worried.
It's a good laugh,
I'm
though,
not worried. Yeah, it was good.
We did the mock draw, and if you haven't seen it yet, heard it yet, it's probably best to watch it on YouTube. Otherwise, you might get a little lost.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
You might get a little
chaos,
lost.
I'll call it, look.
So, by the way, what a 48-hour period it's going to be, because we have the draw on Friday, and then Saturday is MLS Cup, the Whitecaps at Inter Miami.
Yeah.
This is a Park the Bus MLS Cup special.
Yeah.
As we talk about Vancouver's incredible run to MLS Cup. And, I mean, for them to achieve what they have achieved this season, Canadian Championship, final of the CONCACAF Champions Cup, to demolish San Diego in the first, however many, 5 minutes to get two goals up in that semi-final.
Yeah.
A San Diego team that finished above them in the regular season, although I think, you know, if you look at the both sides, credit to San Diego, but the Whitecaps are a better team.
Yeah.
Better players,
overall.
better team.
Overall.
Yeah.
Better.
Totally agree.
And they should probably have finished top of the West during the season. But what a story it's been for Vancouver. And we can talk about various different players throughout and the job that Jesper Sorensen's done. But just on a whole, for this club to be where it is right now, as a gold standard for not only winning in MLS, but what they did in CONCACAF as well. It's incredible. But what a ride it's been to get to this point.
It is. It has been. I think analysing players and coaches and all the things that we can go through is one thing. But first, I want to say, what a likeable team. What a fun team to watch.
Yep.
Yes.
What a bunch of players that, you know, you want to see do well. They go about things in the right way. There's no moaning. There's no carrying on. They play their football. And they go and they try and win, and they're positive. And nearly every game we've seen them play this season, Kev.
Yeah.
And so I think the run towards MLS Cup is not a surprise to us, guys. We saw it grow throughout the season, and we saw a team get a little bit better throughout as well. But what an achievement to do it, to pull it off, considering where this club, this franchise was 1, 2, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
We would never have expected this to happen.
No, I'd probably expand it a bit. I thought, and I've said it consistently, I actually thought that they were in a decent position probably last season to be a contender in the playoffs, and they weren't. Season before that was probably a season too early for them.
Did you not always feel, though, that the last 2 years they just weren't quite as good as LAFC? Whereas this year, I think coming in, you felt that anything could happen because of the talent they've got.
Honestly, last season...
This was their best chance.
Yeah.
No, but when I would look at last season, I think...
They could have done better.
Better. I don't think they would have won the MLS Cup last year. I think that I fancied them maybe mid-season to be a side that could compete, but not necessarily be a given that they get to the final. And I say that in all due respect to them, but I felt last season they were in a good position, and I felt far too many times towards the end of the season they changed the team, they changed everything around, rather than just go, let's finish in the top 3 or 4. And ultimately it cost them. They had that playing game against Portland that they won really well, but it's probably one game too many for them come the end of it all. But going into this season, if you remember at the end of the season, Fafa Peacock left, and I looked at it overall and we were looking at, are they going to be stronger this season than last? Maybe it's a 50-50 call, but then the real emergence across the season of Pedro Vite initially, Sebastian Berhalter, and of course, what happened with White continued to do what he's done. The injuries to Gold, Adekubi at the start of the season, we were looking at it going, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Then you bring Nelson in, who's had a good season. So I'm mentioning individuals, but just to the point is, I felt as though last season they underachieved. I think that they could have been a contender, but probably wouldn't have won it. That's the way I looked at it. This season, once we got the first 10 games out of the way, when we saw where they were going, I think we knew there was something being built that was very special, I think. Yeah.
I think they saw last season as a missed opportunity as a group of players. And obviously the coaching change was vitally important. Jesper Sorensen came in and somehow made each of these guys a little bit better and brought a belief in a real clear game plan and sort of executing in that game plan, and I think really gave them this momentum and this confidence that just led on to bigger and better things. So we have to recognise that, as it's no slight against Vanni Sartini, but they went to another level in a few different areas, and to me the most important one was in the coaching department.
Okay, and one more name to mention right off the top here is Axel Schuster.
Yeah.
He's done a great
who
job.
has put this all together. And when you look at the decision to make the coaching change, he could easily have stuck with what he'd got.
Yeah.
He made the decision, a big, bold decision to make the coaching change. He went and got somebody in Jesper Sorensen who not a lot of people were familiar with, hadn't got a huge track record in terms of success at club level, had done some decent resume, but it wasn't like he'd got a decade of success, winning things as a head coach. And then puts these pieces together, manages to get a team together along with Jesper Sorensen who can deal with the fact that they've lost their best player, Reingold. And defensively, big issues, Veselinovic out for so long. And they're just at the point where you think, well, they've got to the Champions Cup final. They've got a great chance in the league. They're playing well. Sells Vite. Sells Pedro Vite, who is such a big part of that team and what they were doing well. Sells him, but they still managed to move on. And then, when we're saying, well, Thomas Muller...
Where do they go? Who's the extra piece?
What's the extra piece? He goes and knocks it out of the park. With Thomas Muller.
Well, very quickly on Muller, two things, guys. Like, it's one thing to convince Muller to come to Vancouver, which was
by the way,
is
a huge,
incredible. But it's another thing to go and convince an ownership group that never spent the cash like that, ever, on a DP. So credit's going to go to the CEO, president, whatever his official title is, to actually say to the ownership, give me 6, 7, 8 million in wages to go pay this guy. And I'm going to convince this guy that Vancouver's the best place for him to go amongst New York and Chicago and LA and wherever he could have landed, probably anywhere in MLS. So that was unbelievable. But I believe that the coaching decision was so brave to go with Sorensen. Usually when MLS clubs go with the tried and tested route, you got to know the league, you got to know his travel, the weather, all these things that they throw in the mix and say, it needs to be an American or someone who's been in America 10, 15, 20 years. What a load of rubbish. Go get a guy that can do the job, Kev.
I'd be interested to ask Jesper Sorensen about how much he knew about the group of players that he inherited. I think he probably would have had to get up to speed in them quickly, but how much did he see them last season? What did he see what we were seeing? Did he see Kubas like we knew Kubas? Brian White, obviously Reingold and all these players. Once he saw them, I'm sure he thought, I'm onto something.
Can do something.
I've got something potentially very special here. So you're right in saying that the appointment to bring him in was a coup in itself. But then for him to take these players onto the next level.
I loved him walking into the stadium with his huge headphones on at the weekend.
Yeah, it was so cool, didn't he?
You usually see the playoffs.
Heart rate at about 55 beats a minute.
That's another thing
you don't
he
like
doesn't
it?
like.
No.
You didn't like that?
Not for me.
Looked calm, though.
He did look calm, He did look calm. I don't imagine he...
I don't think I've ever seen a manager in
I don't
headphones.
imagine
You
he'd
see
be
all the players
listening
getting off the bus with them on, but...
What do you think he was listening to?
Park the Bus.
ACD... Park the Bus. Well, obviously we know that that's not the case. I'm thinking, right, you could say he's listening to AC/DC. Most of the Scandinavian players that I would have played
music,
with...
I'd say.
No, they love the heavy
Symphony.
rock. They love the heavy rock. AC/DC.
That man doesn't listen to heavy rock.
Guns N' Roses, Black Sabbath.
Not a chance.
Right, so...
We got to find out what he was
We're going to get him on. We have to get him on.
We got to find out what he was listening to.
I think what he's listening to,
Symphony.
Mozart Symphony 17 or something like that. I think that's what he's listening to. Or something that's focusing his mind, like a mental plan of what he's got to do.
Yeah, maybe.
And just on that point you mentioned about I think it's changed now. The theory that you have to know the league, you have to be either a former MLS player or it was always nonsense. You just need the right person,
always nonsense.
the right people.
Yeah.
But you look at the semi-finals of the playoffs this year, or the conference finals. Jesper Sorensen knew, Mascherano knew to North America. Pascal Janssen in New York, and Mikey Barras is the only one. He's a first-year head coach, but he's been around the US and been in the system, so he's the only one of the three.
I've had a problem with this for a while. Look, it's been pushed by MLS, pushed by
people in the position,
US, North American people to say, you got to know this league. You have to be humble as you come to this league. You have to listen and learn and understand what goes into it. You don't come with a South American or a European mindset and think it's going to be the same. But if you are that kind of person and you've got a growth mindset, Kev, it's like anywhere in the world. You get to know it, and you know, and you learn, and you learn from mistakes and from successes, and you apply that for the next game, the next month.
And you learn tactically the best way to set up the personnel. And we look at the personnel that Sorensen set up at the start of the season. So he set up with that 4-3-3 system. Don't forget, when Thomas Muller came in, we were all looking at it going, how's he going to fit into this team because of the system that they had? And he's tinkered with that a bit. With the sale of Vitae, like you say, he had to change it anyway. So Berhalter dropped into a more conventional 2 in midfield.
Where he's better in as well.
Where he's better.
In that
been
position.
incredible.
Yeah,
So
alongside Kubas. And then it fits Muller. I mean...
Some people said that they didn't think Muller would fit in.
No, but I didn't. No,
well, at that time we thought Gold was coming back, and we were wondering how Gold.
No, I'll stick to
and
that.
I know
He's
coming off the bench.
I'll stick to 100%. The system that they were employing.
But you still think he's been a bit lucky that Gold's coming off the bench, because where would he fit both the players?
Well, naturally, we would have thought he would have been on the right-hand side in the system. No, I stick to Gold. Gold. Sabi's kicked on in the playoffs. Sabi's been outstanding,
and they've needed his pace, Kev, and his threat.
Yeah, definitely. But no, just to the point here, what you're saying, I stick to my point on. Playing the 4-3-3 system would not have worked with Thomas Muller. He couldn't have played in the system. So they had to adapt, to change, to go to a 4-2-3-1, to play as a 10 or as a second striker in a 4-4-2. That was the only way that Muller could have fit into that side. Playing out wide or playing in a 3 in midfield.
And to that point, it's worked. But again, we talk about gambles and big moves. Axel Schuster got that one right in terms of, do we change everything at this point? I think they're
knowing a character as well, though, isn't it?
They could have made it. They could have made it to the playoffs. But that move is let's go and now take it a step further, and it means we've got to make big changes in terms of how we're playing mid-season when we're already doing well. But this is a home run.
It was an absolute home run, and just the point I was making there. It goes back to the point is you absolutely have to do research on the people that you're bringing into the building. Because if you don't do that, you don't find out a little bit about the personality.
He's been incredible. Exactly. He's been more than anyone could have expected. I would say, off the pitch, probably as good as any designated player in league history.
Ever.
How he's...
I would actually say, guys, he's been good on the pitch, but I don't think he's been exceptional. I think it's more the stuff that's off the pitch. And his attitude on the pitch, Kev.
What we did last week, we were doing it last... Who did they beat in the round before that when they were...
Dallas? LA?
No, LA. He was outstanding. He was outstanding in the game. Honestly, I think it was his best performance. And he didn't score in the game, but he was so good in that match. I thought that was the one that was, to me, that said where he was. I thought he was running around like a 25-year-old. I really thought that. And you're right, I didn't think he was as good in the San Diego game as the LA match.
So, obviously, we'll talk about Miami in a few moments, and the fact that the Whitecaps have already gone and destroyed them in the CONCACAF Champions Cup and gone into Miami and done that.
Different Miami.
They're different Miami now, 100%. But before we do that, from a Whitecaps perspective, successful teams usually pick themselves. Right? And it probably does. It does pick itself. Apart from
there's 3 or 4 tough
Tristan
decisions.
Blackman. Well, there's more tough decisions than... surely, OK, let's leave the back line, OK? But Kubas Berhalter. Ahmed, Muller, and Sabi, and then Brian White.
For sure.
So that picks itself.
But what I'm trying to say, and it's like the knock-on of Blackman coming back in, which will happen.
He's the MLS Defender of the Year.
Because then you've got, Ocampo's been unbelievable. Tate Johnson, it's been incredible. And that last game, how good was he in that conference final,
He was incredible. What a season he's had. If you remember going back to when Adekubi got injured, and he was thrown in a little bit, and we were... Is he going to be able to produce the level of Adekubi? Because Adekubi was flying in the first 3 or 4 games of the season, and we were expecting him to be seriously pushing for the Canada squad this summer to be as the natural left back. The fitness levels that he was showing, and Tate Johnson stepped in and quietly just got on with it. Played in the big games in the Champions Cup matches. Played all the way through in the MLS when they were still thinking, what's going to happen at left back? Are they going to put Laborda out there? Are they going to play a Campo there who's played there at left back? But he quietly just got on with his job. And he's, as a young player, you know yourself, Stevie, it's easy to leave the young player out. You drop him. That's what
I was going to say. That drop Johnson is the easiest move.
You know who I would leave out? Laborda.
No way.
No,
I wouldn't.
I'll tell you my reasoning behind it.
You'd keep Priso and bring Blackman in.
Blackman in. And I'll tell you
Laborda
why.
has to play.
Because of the pace that Miami have in the wider areas. With Messi in the false nine, as they're playing with Allende and Servetti, that pacing behind him, we know that's the one fault that Laborda's got. Listen, I've loved his performances this season.
I wouldn't be surprised
He's been
if he keeps the
outstanding.
same back four.
And
Leaves
leaves
Blackman out.
not a
Blackman
chance. MLS Defender of the Year, not a
Well,
chance.
I'll tell you now with Blackman. Blackman has been outstanding this season. Since he's come back from the injury in the playoffs, he's looked shaky. He hasn't looked great in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? And in the last game, he was struggling against LA when he got the suspension going into the match. Obviously, got caught and he gets the red card. So I would stick with... I mean, Laborda, to me...
He was incredible.
So Laborda's
Yeah,
number
he
one
has
defender. Number one defender. He's a goal threat in the opposition penalty box from set pieces. And also, I think his leadership that he brings as well. Positional play. Stevie, I've seen guys far less paced than Laborda. I wouldn't want to say Stephen Caldwell, being outstanding positionally. And that's what Laborda is.
I know, and I hate saying it.
Laborda plays.
I just look at the match-up, and they need the pace in the full-back areas.
The one player I think
don't want to see. I don't think Laborda should be playing full-back in this game. I think it'll cost the Whitecaps.
It'll be Priso probably that gets left out. Do you not
Priso?
think, really, if you think about it?
How good was he, though,
He was
against
amazing.
San Diego?
He was amazing.
And the other thing
What a
about Priso
story.
is that with Messi playing false nine and going into midfield, I feel good about Priso following him in there.
I've got your man to stop him. The man that stops him is Kubas. Kubas will nail him. Because Kubas will be... His job will be, wherever the ball is, whatever's happening...
Look for Messi.
Just keep hold of him. And you and I were both analysing the goal that Messi scored, the header against... who was that? I'm trying to think of the team.
New York City.
New York City, that's right. And it was... No, it wasn't New York.
No, the one before.
It was...
Cincinnati.
Philly.
No, Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Go through them all.
There you go.
It's like the draw.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. It was Cincinnati.
He just sucked the defenders in, or the midfielder, and he pulled off.
It's a great goal.
Kubas, I don't think that happens to Kubas. Kubas is too good, and he's been in those positions before where defending to Kubas is almost like an old-style Italian midfielder that it's more pride in stopping a goal than scoring a goal yourself.
Far and away the best six in the league, by the way.
What?
Far and away.
For 2 years.
Yeah,
3 years, Stevie.
you're
No
right.
doubt about it.
Yeah.
He has been the best six in the league.
Get a move in January.
And by the way, that's another big signing.
Yeah.
Whitecaps made
Great
when
signing.
he came in from Nîmes, who I think were second tier in
Looked
France at that
after him
point.
as well, gave him better money, and,
Right.
you know. But I think they might lose him in January. That's
think?
another
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
I think we'll go to
Potentially
Europe.
Ali Ahmed.
Ali Ahmed,
Yeah, Europe.
But back onto Messi against Kubas. The other great thing about that would be Kubas, an Argentine-born Paraguay international, playing against Lionel Messi.
Yeah.
And we've seen throughout the playoffs, Messi does like to talk.
I think Kubas and Messi have had a little bit before, right?
He does like to talk at people.
Yeah.
So, but Kubas will be fine with that.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, he's
Kubas
ready
will be
for it.
fine with the trash talking and all that kind of stuff.
And Messi was having a little bit with Maxi Morales as well.
Yes, he was.
Which I found weird because both Argentina and Messi's... He's putting himself about a bit in MLS, isn't he?
I mean, his numbers in the playoffs are outstanding. He's broken all sorts of records, hasn't he?
But then, do you think the fact that everybody is keying in on stopping Lionel Messi is now allowing someone like Allende to flourish?
Yeah.
Because he was exceptional.
You can't ignore Messi. You have to have people, not just one round about him. And as soon as he starts dragging centre-backs into that position, then you get that longer ball and you get the two boys.
That's why you're thinking Priso plays, because of that, more pace.
Stepping in. Allow Priso to step in. Even Blackman's quite comfortable with that. You've got the pacier centre-back, and then you need the pacey full-backs because Allende and Servetti are quick.
Yeah.
And they're direct, and they time their runs really well. And I just feel like Laborda, I mean... We're underestimating how much he brings to the team in terms of commitment, set pieces, which all comes into it. But when you look at the kind of direct profile against profile, their Miami forward line against Vancouver back line, he might be the odd one out.
Don't forget the start of the season, probably if you were picking your first choice 11 for Vancouver, Laborda would have been at right back.
Yeah.
Because Laborda was the more natural right back. Campo would have been the guy.
Veselinovic would be in, obviously. He's been a huge loss as well.
Veselinovic probably the most improved player in the last 3 years, 4 years. Adekubi. You know,
like you would never ever have expected that we would be talking about Israel Priso playing in the middle of the back line.
He's been so good
in MLS Cup.
San Diego game, he was out of this world. I never thought he could play that good at centre back so quickly, having transitioned Not to say he won't play games in midfield again, but this season for sure, he's become a centre-back. How good was he, Kev?
I know, positionally. I think...
And his decisions on the ball as well. Everything.
I think he's actually got better on the ball, and that's probably playing at the Whitecaps, better players around him. Never really given a first shot at TFC.
No.
He's had to move, went to Colorado, and he's not really been established, has he? And before... I mean, you can't really say he's fully established at Vancouver yet because he's not got his own position quite yet. But when he's been asked to do things, if you think about this season, asked to fill in a hole when Kubas was away with the international setup, he'd fill in for Kubas at holding midfield. And you remember when we were speaking, or I saw Kubas talking recently, saying about, look, I was asked to fill in the role and I just did it. And that was pretty much what was expected of me, so I went with it. And it's amazing what coaches see and how they work on things in training. We only see the end of it, so it can go wrong. Of course, it can go wrong when the game happens. But this has been a long process for Jesper Sorensen and the Whitecaps and what they've done in his development. So he stepped into a role he's actually become quite familiar with in the last few months by doing that day in, day out in training.
Is it too late for Priso to make a case for the World Cup squad?
No. He's right in the...
But do you have him on race for the roster?
Well, I don't want to reveal
do you have him on the bubble?
I don't want to reveal too much when race for the roster's coming, but this is a big game for him, especially if he starts.
Well,
and the fact that he can play
would you pick him ahead of Joel Waterman, Kamal Miller? Who else is there as well? At
the minute, I would say for sure.
Would you, yeah?
So what you're saying is that on Monday's race for the roster, if the Whitecaps have won MLS Cup, you're putting Ralph Priso in the World Cup squad?
I think people should watch.
Going to come onto your bubble?
I think people should watch and see. People should watch.
He's just said he's putting Ralph Priso in the World Cup squad.
I didn't say that. I said people should watch.
People should watch, right? But you're alluding to that.
He's done so well, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm so pleased
But he's been nowhere near, though, has he?
No, nowhere near.
In terms of Jesse Martin.
Well,
and that
Jesse's
goes to
never
show,
picked him in squads. And
but that also goes
to
to show that how much more surprising it is.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't playing regularly.
Yeah.
And he wasn't at this level.
Yeah.
And now he's done it at the time of the season when it really matters.
Do you know what, Luke, as well? There's a lot to be said when you're playing international football, when guys in your team are being picked and they're going away. Every camp, Nelson and Ali Ahmed, they're going away, and he's thinking, I want a piece of that.
Yeah.
I want to be part of that. I want to be picked. And if it continuously happens, your game is that's your motivation when you're back at your club, when all these guys are away on international duty.
We've known Ralph for a long time now, you know, since he was 17.
Yeah.
He played in the World Cup.
I honestly liked him.
And I've worked with him with Canada as well in January camps, where you get a lot more time with the players to work on the field and to get to know them off the field, because there's a little bit less pressure, let's say, than an official international window. And he's a guy that I've always had a soft spot for. I've always felt like there's something in there, but he's never quite realised how good he can be. He's a physical athlete. He's good on the ball. He's got a left foot. He's got a balance to him that I think is quite impressive. And I don't think he's ever understood just kind of what potential he has until now. And again, I got to go back to Jesper Sorensen. If we go through 1 to 25 guys, every single player, maybe apart from Thomas Muller, because he played at such a high level, has actually got better under this man.
Yeah,
you know, and some have went, you know, levels, like guys like Ocampo, Laborda, Tate Johnson, Berhalter, their games went, you know, levels and levels. Berhalter's going to probably go to a World Cup because of Jesper Sorensen.
And we're talking about probably a $25 million player here.
Yeah.
25 million.
Right.
If he left the Whitecaps, that's the fee that they'd be expecting from at this stage, aren't they?
And we always admired his endeavour and whatever, but we never saw that come out in him. So I got to say, the way that the coach has brought these guys, gave them confidence, but also worked on their weaknesses and allowed them to flourish as football players is remarkable. And it's part of the reason why I just think they're such a likeable team.
Oh, completely likeable team. And that's also one of the reasons why I think the last check I had before we started talking about this was that there are 16,000 tickets sold right now for BC Place.
Oh, brilliant.
For the watch party. And they will end up with more people at BC Place watching the game on the big screen there than will be in Chase Stadium,
That's amazing.
which holds 21,000. So it just goes to show you, it's not just about Thomas. Thomas Muller's a big part of it, I think. It's about the fact the team's done well. Success obviously brings that. But it's the fact that they're a team that everyone wants to root for. Because they're a likeable team with likeable personalities. And the biggest personality of all, Thomas Muller, has just made himself part of Vancouver. He's always at the Canucks games. He goes, he does all these different things around the city. And that's a huge piece of this. Inter Miami are vulnerable, though, aren't they, defensively?
They are, but they've
I mean,
got
they looked
some
amazing.
Star players.
They looked amazing.
They
The
got
last-
some
that
star
last-
players.
Through the playoffs, that last game as well.
It's the dream final, isn't it? It's the star-studded,
So what's
champions
changed?
to be, because everybody expects them to go and win it.
What's changed from when the Whitecaps dismantled them in the CONCACAF Champions Cup?
Suarez.
Do you think? Do you know what?
Big thing. Because you get two guys that can't press right away. And then you've got Busquets who doesn't have great legs in the middle as well. And so all of a sudden you're compromised defensively. You put the young boys in wide who are a threat in behind. Give Messi a bit more freedom. He never defends. He's never going to defend, but he's so special. And then you put Rodrigo de Paul, who does two people's work in the middle of the park, and Messi's work, three people's. And all
Rodrigo
of a
de Paul's
sudden,
huge.
and by the way, I've still got my gripe about him being a designated player
There you go.
and getting
What do you
paid.
think of that
What
one,
is
Luke?
it?
Yeah.
700-800. Rodrigo de Paul is on the roster.
Well, Thomas Muller
as a
then.
targeted.
Let's take them both out of the biggest game of the season.
Yeah, well,
because you're too.
No, Miami
you
really
like to stick
push
to
the
the rules.
boundaries. Really push the boundaries. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's a star-studded.
Push the
group of
boundary
players.
as far as you can.
Yeah, you
Why
can.
not?
You're allowed. You're
The
allowed
boundaries
to.
have to be pushed for MLS to get anywhere
Kev,
near the next
come on,
level.
It's a joke.
Do you know what I'm just going to say here, though, quickly on it, right? So if you remember Inter Miami last year, where they broke all records, winning the Supporters' Shield last year, every single game they were at it. So it was almost an unsustainable level they were playing every single regular season game going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
They've not been like that this year. Messi's not played a lot, or certainly the amount of games that he played last season.
For lulls, isn't he?
And they've had the lulls. And I think what they tried to do this year, and as I think every team should do in the MLS, you should not be peaking every single week in it, because every game does not matter in the MLS, and that's the fact. As much as I've come in from a mentality where every game does matter, it doesn't. So you've got to then be peaking going into the playoffs, and that is exactly what they did this year. I think they fell off. Maybe an answer to your question there, where they were destroyed by the Whitecaps in that Champions Cup game.
Yeah.
I think it was almost after that, right, we know now that we're going to build steadily towards the playoffs and get it right going in. And their form in the last 10 games was, I think it was probably the best team in the MLS over the course of the last 10 games.
Yeah.
So they were hitting the playoffs at peak football, and that's why they're in the position now where they're going as favourites, of course, they do. As you say, everyone expects them to win it, and everyone expects Lionel Messi to be crowned the greatest ever because of it, because of what he's won in the past. So that's the difference for Miami this season to last. I think they've timed the run a lot better, and probably personnel within that are a lot fitter and stronger because of that, rather than being tired hitting the playoffs. Remember that Atlanta game last year? They looked tired. They looked shot.
Yeah.
I think I saw as well it will be the first time that a player has an MLS Cup and a World Cup in a trophy cabinet.
Wow.
So we're going to get either Messi or Busquets or Muller, who have won a World Cup and then won an MLS Cup as well.
Cool.
There have been previous World Cup winners in MLS.
And a Champions League throw-in as well, don't forget. They've all won Champions League, those three.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
So the
Trifecta.
MLS Cup is the missing piece. The missing piece for these
That's
players.
never been said before.
But no, I was down in the US, actually in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, the last few days. And everybody is talking about the fact that this is the dream matchup because it's Messi against Muller. But as you would expect for Thomas Muller, he's playing that down. He's saying, it's not about... But they've faced each other so many times on the biggest stages of all before. I mean, the storylines are there. But for me, the Whitecaps, if they're going to win this, it's not going to be about... It might be about how they stop Messi, but it's not necessarily going to be about Thomas Muller.
Yeah.
It's about Andreas Kubas, Sebastian Berhalter, Ralph Priso, whoever's at the back. It's about Ali Ahmed, and can he do what he did to San Diego the first few minutes of that game? He was.
Is Ali Ahmed still unbeaten?
He was on another
this season?
level.
I'm going to kill it now, but is Ali Ahmed still unbeaten this season? Do you remember when he dropped that in?
He did say
with
that
us?
in the pod that he'd not
I still
lost.
think he's unbeaten this year.
Might be, yeah.
He might be.
Oh, did he play that game where the last game in the regular season?
Can't remember.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah, he probably did.
They lost that game, didn't
But
they?
Yeah,
do you
I'm
think-
happy about that.
They would be hosting MLS Cup if
Yeah.
they had won that game. They should have won that game.
Yeah, I know.
The red card to Laborda against Dallas.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
But do you think that he has gone to another level, Ali Ahmed?
Yeah. Again, confidence and
For club and country.
decision making. Oh yeah, for sure. Because we've always questioned, or I certainly.
We
have
talked about
questioned
this
the
while
end
you were
product.
away, by the way.
Yeah.
And there'll be much more time to do it. But
Is there a world where...
is there a world where Alphonso Davies is fit and doesn't start?
I heard that when I was on
Right,
the
come on.
aeroplane. And
So
it was
you're
utterly
dropping Ali
ridiculous.
Ahmed?
So Ali Ahmed's dropped
Yeah.
them?
Yeah, I am. And it's very unfortunate. But there's not a chance that Canada start any of their 3 group games in the World Cup with Alphonso Davies if he's 100%
If he's
fit.
100% fit,
And you're
right.
playing
Not
him,
a
and
chance.
you're playing him not at left back.
I would play him higher up, but again, a lot to be determined whether he can press the way Jesse wants.
No, but that's the problem.
That's
though.
what I'm saying to you.
Richie
So
Larea is
that's
So
undroppable.
Larea will get dropped. There's no way Alphonso Davies will get dropped.
Oh, right.
No
okay.
way.
Well, there's no world for me where Richie Larea is not playing that first game. Richie Larea simply has to start.
So there's only one guy that could get dropped.
Yeah.
You don't want to play him further forward.
I agree with that.
No. Who?
Pressing. Alfonso.
No, I'm saying there might be an issue with the way that he presses, but regardless, Jesse will just have to go with it. I mean, I really think Alphonso Davies should and could be an unbelievable presser.
Can I just say
He's
this?
so quick.
Judging from our draw that we did earlier on, Canada play Cape Verde in the opening game. So you've constantly said
The mock
team,
draw, by the way, just in case
Yeah.
anyone's dropping
Yeah.
in. The ParkTheBus mock draw.
Mock draw, yeah.
It was
Scenario
Canada,
draw. Yeah.
Switzerland, Scotland,
Scotland.
and Cape Verde.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Stevie's constantly said to you, Luke, every week I'm watching you guys doing it. He said,
depending who they
it's
get
going to
first.
be influenced who they get that first game. So if it's Cape Verde,
But things changed a little bit, although they could, in the real draw, could still get, say, Italy, which is a really tough pot 4 team. But knowing that they're playing pot 4, because this was a few weeks ago when the first game used to get drawn, didn't it? All right,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
whatever this team, but it's going to be third game. We know it's going to be pot 4. So if it's a weaker team, it's all guns blazing for Canada.
Yeah, yeah.
so
Very
Alfonso
good.
plays, is that
At
what
that
I'm saying
point, he
to you
has
then?
to.
Yeah.
So he plays
100%.
anyway, regardless, but does he play as a left winger or a left back if it's someone like Cape Verde?
Well, I agree with you that Richie Larea is undroppable. Ali Ahmed's had an amazing season, club and country, but he is the one that unfortunately has to miss out.
All right.
Now,
How about
if-
Alfonso Davies off Jonathan David?
It's not a terrible shout. It really isn't.
I don't usually have terrible shouts.
No,
Somewhere
he
in
doesn't.
there, somewhere
He does have a lot
in
of
a
knowledge,
forward
this
line,
guy.
you know?
He mentions Sheffield United every
Against
week.
Cape Verde?
on his
I'll mention it
defending.
again
Against
this
Cape
week.
Verde?
Yeah. It's not a terrible shout.
No, Tanny's
Who knows?
Tanny's starting, lads. 100%
Tanny.
Tanny's
Yeah,
starting.
bring it back to the Whitecaps. Alfonso Davies, by the way, obviously
Started
a former
at the
Whitecaps.
Whitecaps, yeah.
Started at the Whitecaps.
Yeah.
A long time since, I think it might even be a decade.
Yeah.
Might be wrong, but I just remember him, I called his
No, you're
first
right.
game when he came on.
Yeah, a decade.
I think it was against Orlando. He came off the bench.
Yeah. 16, 15, something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
15 or 16, yeah.
Can I just mention as well one other thing that we've not mentioned because of this problem that the Whitecaps have had, and it's Ryan Gold. He came on the other night and he made a difference to them.
Yeah.
He was so good coming on.
At the post.
So he's going to be a bench. He's going to be. So we're settled on he will absolutely
sure.
start off the bench.
Yeah.
So it seems like he's coming on a little bit earlier every single game.
Yeah.
It's like 75 minutes, then it went to 70, 60.
60 coming on.
So is there potential that he's coming on at half time if the
No,
game's
60.
down?
I don't change
60.
half-time.
Or, you do.
Unless it's
Sometimes.
really
if it's
bad.
going wrong, you mean?
2-0?
If it's going wrong.
2-0
yeah.
down at half time.
60 minutes.
Right, so he's coming on for the last 30 minutes of the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
For who? Muller?
No, I don't think again. I know he came on for Muller and San Diego match, but
No.
Sabi?
Sabi or Ahmed,
Yeah,
depending on how they're playing.
Sabi seems the more natural,
Yeah.
but as I said before, I've been actually a bit disappointed with Sabi in the running, maybe from halfway across this season, but he's gone back to the level in the playoffs. He's probably
need his
been the
profile,
better
eh?
attacking player that they've had. Yeah,
They need his threat. They
Yeah.
need his pacing behind. He's unpredictable, Luke. He does things that, in fairness to the other forward guys, they don't really have, you know.
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
I think you say to Sabi, give us a good 60 minutes, you know, empty the tank. Don't leave anything back because the likelihood is you're coming off around about the hour mark and we got an excellent sub to bring on.
Another thing as well, just a quick one. I think it was important that Brian White got back amongst the goals again and looked the way that he did because
he
I
did.
think he struggled since coming back from the injury. He hasn't looked himself that, the player that we saw early on
Looked
this
sharp
season.
again, didn't he?
So White back as well. They're going in with a lot of freshness around the team as well.
I
Yeah,
hope they keep that same mentality though. Go for them.
yeah. I think they will.
Don't sit back.
Set piece delivery, always big in big games, but
Yeah.
the Whitecaps have got
Yeah.
Sebastian Berhalter, who's
And
one of
I
the
mean,
best.
it's not too bad. Berhalter is one of the best, but they've got a few guys that
Yeah.
can
Yeah,
put
yeah.
a ball into the box, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you think? Can they do it?
I think they can do it. I really do. I think it'll be very tough. I think, obviously, like any big final, the first goal is important. But I really believe that they've got the quality and the belief to go and pull it off.
I don't see it being Miami runs away with it.
I don't.
I don't see it being like a 3-0.
I think a lot expect them to, but I think we all know.
Yeah.
We all know how good they are. And look,
Kubas and Berhalter aren't going to be in a position where they let Miami get away
Run
with
over the
something
top
like
of them,
run over
yeah.
the top of
No,
them.
I don't think
That's not going to happen.
I don't know, you guys might agree or disagree with me. I think the Whitecaps have been the best team in the MLS this season. And the reason why I say that, I know the numbers won't back that up, but look at the injuries they've had, key players. Well, you mentioned it, Veselinovic, Ryan Gold being out, Adekubi out. Look at the players that they've had out, that they've lost at key moments of the season as well. When they were flying, when early on this season, when they went on that incredible run, and Veselinovic then gets injured, Blackman towards the back end's been injured.
Yeah.
With all that into account, they have played the best football I've seen this season. And it's still gone unnoticed a little bit, I think, probably south of the border here, I think that.
Definitely.
I think it's one of the greatest seasons in MLS history, if they win the MLS Cup, with also winning the Champions Cup, also winning the Canadian Championship. Obviously, by trophies, it would be.
We see how people crash from
Look
that
at Seattle
Champions
did.
Cup
Do you remember what
campaign.
Seattle did a few years ago?
Yeah.
It happens.
Most teams do.
But also then, having done that, having got to the final of the Champions Cup, you mentioned all the players they've missed as well. To be able to get to the position they are now with what they've got, I think it's up there with any team that we've seen from MLS.
Yeah, and again, they had a little wobble in the summer, and you think, it's going to drop off now. They'll lose a few games, and then they went again. Went another level with injuries, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Kev. There was games they were playing Halbuni, who had a terrific year, by the way, as a sort of understudy centre back.
3 or 4 centre half.
Other guys in the back line that you're like, and then they go win the game. So everybody's contributed. 20 plus players.
Last 2 things before we go, and obviously we'll have MLS Cup live on TSN, so we'll get a prediction in a moment. You guys are going to decide, but they get a penalty.
Here we go.
65th
Are we still talking about this?
It's going to happen. 65th minute.
Muller, Gold, and White are on the
They're all on the pitch.
Thomas Muller.
Brian White.
You're just being stubborn. You always have to be stubborn, don't you?
I'm not being stubborn.
There's not a chance that Thomas Muller doesn't take that penalty.
Brian White. Let's see.
Let me tell you, Brian White will be handing that ball to Thomas Muller as well. I'll bet you.
If Brian White's got anything about him, he picks the ball up. I'm the penalty taker here, guys. I'm the man who was designated at the start of the season. I'm the penalty taker. I'm a US international. I'm going to a World Cup. I'm going to score the goal. If Brian White had anything about him, that's what he does.
Ooh,
and Thomas Muller goes.
I hope that happens.
Yeah.
Be great.
Good man. Yeah, that's what happens.
Muller,
2-1.
Yeah.
Prediction.
I'm not going to put a negative side in it because we spoke about the plastic pitch or the Astro pitch in Vancouver last week. I think the Whitecaps are better on grass. I think that helps them. Honestly, do. I know the atmosphere will be in favour of Miami down there. Watching them, the way that they played against San Diego, I don't think the mentality is going to be any different. They'll have to play slightly different tactically and how they set up. I think it suits them. I think the White. I honestly, and it's a genuine thing. I'm not just saying it to jump on a bandwagon because of what they've done this year. I think the Whitecaps win.
I'm going extra time. Whitecaps win.
I think they're a better team. Honestly, overall, obviously Miami have the best player that's ever lived. I know that, but I think if you look at it man for man, the Whitecaps have a better team.
I can't see it being a cagey game. It's a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be
2-2,
two teams going for each other. I think 3-2. I'm going to go Whitecaps. I think they're going to pull it off.
Clean
I think
sweep,
Miami.
then.
Yeah, I do think Miami are going to be
We all been very
still
biased,
vulnerable.
I know
At
that.
the back.
completely.
We're biased.
100%.
Of course we are, and we're a little invested in this team because we're closer to them, let's say. And the other team's got superstars, guys that have been there, done it. So there's that confidence going into the game.
Yeah.
People that have played in way bigger games than MLS Cup, let's be honest. But I think there's something about the Whitecaps, and there's something about, and we've been there, Kevin, teams. When you believe, Luke, you believe your name's on the cup, and it's meant to be. You have this invincibility about you.
Yeah.
And I think the Whitecaps have that at the moment.
Miami do as well, though.
I know.
Miami do
I
as
know.
well.
That's what
They
makes
do.
the game even more intriguing.
That's
because
why it's going to be a great
both-
game. And I just don't see two teams going like, OK, let's see what happens. I think two teams go, let's go for it.
Yeah.
And let's see who comes out on
See what
top. I
happens.
see 5 or 6 goals and somebody just, pitting the other
Couple of
team in
red
the last
cards.
20 minutes. Maybe.
Kubas up against-
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's going to be aggressive.
We will be back next Monday on Park the Bus when we can hopefully talk about the Whitecaps winning an MLS Cup. And I'm sure next Monday we have to wait a few more days for all of Stevie's stories from his trip to South
Some
America.
great
as
stories,
well.
guys.
I'm looking
Great
forward
So
to that. The
that
most,
is going to be an unmissable
And I'll say-
episode
I'll
of
say
Park
it
the
again,
Bus. And a World Cup draw review as well.
Follow Stevie on Instagram. That's all I'm saying. They'll
Thanks,
get the
Kev.
lowdown
Thanks for the
on
plug.
everything from what he did in South
Thanks for the
America.
plug, mate.
Okay.
Maybe not the private thing.
Make sure you join us for MLS Cup on TSN Saturday afternoon.
Thanks for watching Park the Bus. You can catch new episodes every Tuesday, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.